Today, 10 of the largest cattle feeding operations in the United States comprise 30% of the total feeding lot capacity. To better understand the role that different sources of food play in our environment, we interviewed 3 companies local to our area. Unfortunately, many fast food restaurants refuse to take our interview. Hi, this is Amara Trent. I'm doing a project for a high school environmental class on sustainable consumption, and I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions or set up an interview.
Isn't that what you called for yesterday?
Is that possible?
We don't do any surveys or studies.
However, Burger King did agree to sit down and answer a couple of our questions.
For an interview with Burger King. And then how much produce and meats and everything comes in every week?
Well, I get 6 boxes of Whoppers. Those are 36 pounds each. I get 3 boxes of hamburger meat. Those are 24 pounds each. I get 2 boxes of Whopper Juniors. Those are 34. Then the tomatoes, onions, I'd say about 36, 24. So 36 times 2 and then 24 times 4. That's about how much we use really.
That's a lot.
Quite a bit.
Okay.
Well, we waste a lot of it too because we got standards that we can't use all.
And what do you go through most? Like the Whoppers, I assume?
Yeah, the Whoppers.
Okay. Do you have any organic, like, options or anything?
No, not anymore. We used to, but not anymore.
Okay. Why is that?
The craze for being healthy kind of went down the last couple of years, so we just switched everything out.
All right.
And it's all about saving money now.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. Thank you very much.
No
I
problem.
appreciate it.
You guys have a good one.
From this interview, we became aware of just how invested large corporations are in making profit, regardless of its detrimental impacts on our environment. What came next, however, restored a bit of our faith in the future of our environment. We sat down with local restaurant and bakery owner Tom Hart as he discussed his experiences with providing and promoting local products at his restaurants.
We opened in 2009, and it sounds easier than it is. Farmers are a very tightly knit group. They don't like to share things much. And so I would just walk up to the door and say, hey, we'd like to buy your produce, or we'd like to buy your beef. And they'd look at me and say, well, no. And then, so we kept doing that. And over time, we've been able to develop relationships with now 12 farmers. And our goal is by the year 2020 to have 20 farms and continue that way. We want to, by that same year, we want to have the ability to use local products 75% of the time all year long. So even in the winter, to be buying local stuff. But what that means is we'll have to can things, we'll have to turn things into jellies and sauces and what have you during the summer. And then that'll have a shelf life so we can eat it really fresh stuff during the winter. What we're doing, though, that I think is going to change that is with the farmers. The most important thing on a farm is the soil. Whether they've got crops, whether they've got animals, it's the soil, because that's what produces the best, most delicious food. And if they are able to reinvigorate their soil every year without chemicals, then that's a benefit to us and to the local community, because it's always good stuff. The way they need to do that is with what they call cover crops, clover, winter wheat, that sort of thing. Unfortunately for farms, that doesn't help them because they can't sell that. So they spend money planting it and growing it, but then they can't do anything with it. So we are trying to figure out recipes for those cover crops so that while those cover crops are reintroducing nitrogen and all these really great things into the soil, we're able to use it in salads. One thing we did this year differently is we've established a vision for 2020. And in that vision, we have identified that we're going to reduce our water consumption by 20%. So we'll be recycling water and using what's called gray water for things like the washrooms and so forth. We're going to be capturing water off of the downspouts. That we think will be a more sustainable thing. We're going to reduce our garbage costs and number of pounds by 20%. We are going to reduce our recycling by 20%. And some people say, well, why would you do that? Well, if we can make contracts with companies who bring us a box of plates, let's say, we want to make part of our contract that we can collapse that box and give it back to them, and they can take it back and use it again. So then we won't be sending recycling to a big recycling plant, which is helpful, but it uses a lot of energy and that sort of thing. And then we're going to increase our farmers to 20, and I think I already told you about the 75%. So we're doing some things, but I think we need to do a lot more.
I mean, I look at Simple, I'm like, I don't know how I can improve more, but like, that's crazy that you just keep moving forward and doing more great things for our community.
Well, thank you. They do great things for us.
Just listening to Tom's plan, it became abundantly clear how important the community is to local companies and the efforts put into making our environment and community a better place. This is just one of the many reasons to support local foods. After doing some research, we discovered a local family aiding our community with their beekeeping business. Bees are essential to our environment because pollination plays an essential role in all of the world's agriculture ecosystem. 70 out of the top 100 crop species are pollinated by bees, feeding 90% of mankind. Here is what we learned from our friend the beekeeper.
Support local honey producers, you're also supporting local farmers, because honeybees are really valuable as pollinators. So the more active, healthy honeybee hives we have in a community, the better pollination that farmers are going to have with their crops. And farmers have come to realize that, so there's a whole movement now to create what they call shelter belts on farms, where they basically let weeds grow. With the advent of Roundup Ready crops, there's been a lot of loss of forage for honeybees. So one of the reasons why honeybees are in trouble is they don't have things to eat. You'll notice all the dandelions here in my yard. The war is over, the dandelions won, and it's time to acknowledge them, that they're a great forage crop for honeybees and other native. Positive thing for bees: stop using broadleaf herbicide in your lawn. Come to embrace the dandelion and the white clover, because they're great plants. They really are good for bees.
After our interview, Mr. Ward-Packard allowed us to get up close and personal with the bees. This let us observe the bees busy at work pollinating the food we need to survive. Without beekeepers like Mr. Ward-Packard, the food we rely on today would not exist. Not only is it important to consume local meats and produce, more importantly, we must simply be conscious of what it is we eat. Everything we consume has an impact on our environment, and clearly, consuming local products has the most positive outcome. So in the future, while it may be difficult to buy local 100% of the time, we hope that all of you will become conscious consumers.